Top Hill Recording Podcast, episode 159. What's up, fellas?
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo, how's it going, buddy?
All right. So I think this is our first no-show, man, in 159 episodes.
Really?
Legit.
Yeah.
That's a good percentage.
Yeah. So we've had some people like have to reschedule, but we'll have a day or two, but never a no-show.
Hey, but let's be honest, though. That is an amazing track record considering we work with musicians.
It really is.
And I love them all. Don't get me wrong. But we can be flaky sometimes.
Indeed.
So we're just going to give a podcast update, man. Just what's been going on. I mean, things have changed a lot. We've got the video podcast going, and everybody I talked to at least have been pretty understanding while we're on the video learning curve.
And it's been a big curve.
Got Dusty Bowe in here with us tonight.
Yo.
Hey.
Yeah, that I can imagine. And when did you guys start doing the video? Because when I saw it, it looked like you guys you had already known what was going on.
I thought he was going to say when I saw it, it looked like somebody just learned how to do
No,
video.
man. Legit. It looked like you guys had done some test runs or something before. It didn't look like you just started doing it, which was cool.
They're getting a little bit better every time, but man, so the very first one we did, we set up cell phones. I mean, like you're shooting a video of somebody, for Prime or something. and we set up four phones that way. And for some people, you're thinking phones. Well, we've gone back and forth, but the phone cameras now, you really can't beat them.
No.
So why?
Better than most cameras.
Yeah.
Cameras.
When we first started the one shot, we did some tests with some cameras that are used by a lot of YouTubers and things, and the cell phone camera was better.
By a lot.
Is the video available just on YouTube, or is it also is there a way Spotify?
Spotify.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's still available audio anywhere you get your podcast.
Yeah, but it is cool to be on Spotify and the episode comes on, you see the video. You're like, dude.
Yeah.
Rad.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we didn't think about, just because we didn't know, nobody's ever been trained in video. You set up 4 cameras and they all look different. So every time we've got a switcher. We bought a switcher.
Here, I'll show the switcher.
Yeah, okay. Brent's using now.
I'm not used to switching to myself. I'm usually
Brent's usually off camera.
This is the switcher
here.
So I thought you were going to say, well, we didn't realize when we started with the videos how much more money we were getting ready to spend.
That's just constant, man.
Worth it.
So we've kind of had this progression. So the first time we're trying to, in post-production, and I did it the first week, and I spent the whole week trying to get the colors balanced and everything. It doesn't look very good if you go back and look at that one, but it's okay. Then Neil took over the video, and the next week we learned ISO and shutter speed, right?
Yes.
So we make sure all the phones are set on the same shutter speed,
right.
Same ISO, and trying to get the exposure similar. So that was a little bit.
Well, it's just like stuff that you have no clue what you're talking about until now we do. But when we started, we were like, hey, let's set these things up and hit this button, and then that'll be that. It seemed easy.
Yeah.
Just like everything else.
One camera is easy.
Yeah. One camera is hit the button.
Yeah.
There is no cuts. There's no, and really, I wonder what we could have done in post.
We didn't do, man.
What are we drinking? Hold on, what are we drinking? First of all,
we are drinking.
Cheers.
Hello, my name is Rye.
Cheers. Okay.
I'll put that there. Here, let me put it right by your head. Hello, my name is Rye.
Very good.
So we really don't know what that is, but it is good.
Yeah.
We do know it came from
our good friend, Mr. Donahue.
Our bourbon insider.
Yeah, well.
It's better than the infinity bottle last week. I will say that. It's better than the infinity bottle from last week, I will say, that had 9 X's on it.
I don't know if I'm happy or sad that bottle disappeared that quick.
It's kind of sad it's gone after all that time, but...
Trap King Kai church friends heard that bottle.
They didn't even save us one little thing to keep it going.
9 X's because it was at 90 proof? Is that what? Or
9 different bottles.
9 different bourbons mixed together.
But we brought
it was
suicide.
We bring bourbon out to drink it with friends.
That's right. So check this out.
One thing I have never understood is bourbon collector bottles.
No.
I mean, what the hell?
Here's
You know what? Me neither.
here's my 2013 U of L championship bottle of Maker's
It still has bourbon in it that I'll never drink.
It's so funny. My dad's got 2 of those.
Exactly.
I'm just like, I get you. I'm same.
Like,
you know,
Next time he goes out of town, let's go to his house and drink them.
Save the bottle. Save the bottle. Drink it.
Put tea in it.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't have a display, so I guess if you have a display, it makes more sense than if you like you have a spot where a couple spots where you can go, hey, here's my collector's bourbon that I'll never drink, which still makes no sense. But like, if you don't have, like, I just put my stuff in a cabinet, and once it's in there, it's going to get drank.
Whose is this?
That's our
that's our guest.
That's called
that's our refill.
Yeah, this is the winners. Whoever wins at drinking theirs the quickest gets that one.
We won't.
I'm not in a hurry.
We won't call out our no show, but he didn't know what day of the week it was.
Might not know what week it was.
I called him and said, "Are you close?" Because he's like a 3-hour drive away. He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He thought it was Sunday.
Well, maybe he's had no power either.
Well,
yeah, that's a thing.
That's been a thing.
Is your power on, Dustin?
It is. Power's on, internet's out.
So that's something we can do. So every time that we're in a situation like this and we go to dark, and especially when it's dark for a day or two, are you just not like, think about the days where there was no electricity and what life was about? Even when we got it bad, we got modern plumbing, we've got a lot of things. But could you imagine day and night living in a time?
Speaking of plumbing, have you ever gone to anybody's house, man?
Clogged up toilet.
And you have a shit hit you, man. And you take a shit and the damn toilet won't flush. Has that ever happened to you?
It has. It's been a while, actually, but until tonight. It's always a wonderful thing when you ask the owner of the home, "Hey, do you got a plunger around? Because there's not one in the bathroom that I just clogged."
You gotta feel better.
I'm just
now.
glad it wasn't me, man.
I was like,
I've got plenty of stories.
I don't know.
I've got
We might be
plenty
hanging
of
out for a while. I'm just gonna get rid of this thing.
Yeah, but Brent's always the winner of the best stories when it comes.
Hey, but
to
you know, the good thing about that though, how many people did you just see hanging outside last couple of days while electric's been out? Just hanging out,
Yeah.
kids playing.
Yeah.
The olden
So
days,
it's good,
man.
too.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't start sounding like an old man now.
I remember when. So Dusty, the future co-host, man, is getting ready to be on the resume.
Yeah.
Future temporary
Hell
co-host.
yeah.
So I got some
Not
things.
taking your job.
No, I got some things going on.
Guest
There we go.
co-host.
Future guest co-host.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Starting next episode. Next episode, yeah, I'll still be around, but next episode he's gonna be right here where I'm sitting.
And who's
So-
on that one? Who's the guest on that one?
Next episode is
I don't know.
I don't know.
We can't check our
We can't
phones
check our
because
phones.
they're all
Check our
recording video.
camera.
Yeah, it's like earlier, March 14th. Let me check my. Never mind.
It's a surprise.
Look later.
Yeah.
Surprise,
You'll have
guys.
to tune in.
We'll find out after we record
Yeah,
this.
Brad will be here judging next week. He'll be like, let's see how
It was
this
hard
goes.
to watch you guys set up tonight, man. I just felt like I had to sit on my hands or something.
Yeah, you remember you just told me I was being antsy and needed to sit down. I was like, no, I'm just doing what you usually do.
It was funny for me to watch you watch them. You know what I mean? I was getting it because you can you're so used to doing, it's something like it almost reminds me like when I would like have the band load the trailer the way I did or whatever, like just trying to like monitoring this, like no, you got to do this, you got to do that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have your particular ways of doing
Well, yeah.
things and whatnot.
Particular ways.
Yeah.
And Neil said, how'd you say it? You said it nice that you will adhere to my weirdness is basically what you said.
The intricacies of Brad, just the things that you do, I'll make sure to do them the same.
And Brad has it all up here. Like, we're going to have to make one massive checklist to be able to remember everything.
Wrong.
You all did it tonight.
FaceTime, homie.
or
Hey, man.
or FaceTime.
Look at this. Did we do this right? All right, here's what we're going to do it. Yeah. So
Yeah, y'all set it up tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty easy though.
And you only told me one time, hey, settle down. What did I say when you said that? Oh, I told you you didn't have the mic set up.
I know you used to, yeah.
So you need to get the mic set up, man. Just, hey, settle down. I got this.
Cool the jets, man. Cool the jets.
Man, it's got to be a little weird. Let's, think about that. Number one, for it to be, you are normally the one for 3 years that set up everything. I mean, legit, especially when it was audio. I didn't do anything. I usually came breezing in from work, ready to roll, maybe spending the last few hours listening to whoever's going to come in, just so I would have some type of idea of what we were going to have. And I didn't touch a computer. Yeah. If I needed to run a cord or do anything, I definitely would, and I'm all about it. But for many of those times, I didn't have to do anything. So when you do that, when it's your routine and it's part of the process, and part of that setup is part of your winding into the podcast, and so I could imagine that changing things with the video and kind of being like, all right, let's see if you guys can do it, is different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Antsy, maybe.
Yeah. No, it's just I don't know. I like to do things.
Yeah.
I like to. It's hard to sit and just watch.
Especially once you get like in your routine, your groove, and like you have, it's like yeah, I get it.
Well, and you've said it many times. You are a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when 3 through 6 is taken care of by somebody else, and you got to go 2 to 7, it might take you a second to go, boom, or may not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not nearly as bad as I used to. I used to be like Sheldon, man.
Really?
Yeah. Who?
Sheldon.
Oh,
what's his last name? I don't know.
Big
Big
Bang
Bang
Theory.
Theory.
I never watched it, but I just knew he's weird.
What a
enough
character, man. They ended up making like a precursor show, didn't they? Like growing up with Sheldon.
Younger Sheldon or something like that.
Yeah.
So what is that going to be like for you, man? Watching, having to, tune in.
I'm good. It'll be good.
I mean, you'll still be definitely part of the process with all the editing and stuff, but not going to be weird. Be like, well, that's weird. Dusty's in my seat, man.
I'll just wear one of my AirPod Pros, and I'll just call you, and you can just be
Brad
in my
wants
ear.
to ask.
It's for Brad. So if this is a dumb question, it's not for me.
Wait a minute, we have a question coming in.
We were gonna try to have Brad in like virtually, but then we realized the guests wouldn't be able to hear him what he was saying. He'd be able to hear us,
set a speaker.
but we wouldn't be able to hear him.
With a head taped to it, just
we were gonna put an iPad mounted there, like right behind your head.
We could
we could see you talking.
Put you in an old TV like Max Headroom or something from back in the day. That'd be pretty cool.
No, it'd be good. But I mean, I feel like we got a production going now because all this kind of stuff. The reason it's hard to be consistent. That's why so many podcasts just start and fade out.
Yeah.
And now we got kind of a production going where we split the workload. We've got pretty good spacing on how often we record and have guests come in. And I mean, I don't feel any kind of burnout or anything now.
No, man, it's cool seeing you guys. It's been growing. Like this is, you know what I mean? It's been progressing, which is awesome. It hasn't just been staying like.
It's evolving, hopefully.
It's evolving. Yeah. There you go. It's not just because what you guys did before was great. Before you got this new setup and before the video thing happened too, like it was still an awesome thing. So it's cool that it's
we appreciate that.
Yeah, man, not just keeping going, but you're evolving and growing. It's awesome. And
even on the Spotify year in review, like the amount of content that you all put out was like top 5 or 10%, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean that's a lot of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be that consistent. I mean,
it is
every week like that.
It is that. It's consistency, but it's we get a lot of people that give us their time, and awesome music, and it's
fun.
like
it's fun. We never come in here and not have a good time.
No,
it hasn't happened yet,
and we don't do it so much where our wives hate us yet, or hate the thought of this
but
place.
But what we're getting ready to do, though, in the past, whenever there was a time that would come up where I couldn't be here for a little while, Neil and I, being the only two doing this, we would just stack podcast episodes. So we would be recording 2 or 3 a week for several weeks going into it. And that got to be, it's not as much the coming in and setting up and recording as it is the post-production stuff.
I bet.
Yeah, and that probably was terrible. I couldn't imagine doing it video like that. It's a 1-a-week deal.
Yeah,
it's like,
imagine.
just because then you're putting, you can only spend so much time there. That is a room behind us. In that room with that thing before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can lose time. You could lose days in editing.
And what do you use for the video editing? What
DaVinci Resolve 18. It's amazing.
cool.
And the free version is 4 gigabytes. It's amazing, dude. It has
Crazy what you can do.
I don't know how you would pay for something that does more than what that does, because it's insane. DaVinci Resolve.
But it is addicting. So I'm sure what happens is by the time you learn this free version, you're going to want some of those things you have to pay for.
Well, it depends, but I'm learning how write-offs work.
So our next step with video is are they just called color cards?
Yeah.
We're going to try color cards. So like you set a color card in front of every camera, just for a few seconds, and then you can use that color card to match perfectly every camera.
So then you don't have to do it in post.
Right.
Really. It's
So
just
right now he's trying to do it just by eyeballing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets interesting. Why do you think so? I wonder why podcasts like burn out. I mean, this is 3 years. We're over 3 years now, and it's never been, we've been real consistent, super easy with it. But I mean, do you think it's like ideas or like people run out of stuff to say?
I think it's run out of content or not adapting and like changing, like you all have, of adding new features and everything.
Yeah.
Well, that, and I would say too, because you guys actually like give a damn, you know what I mean? And you like, you're good at talking to and interviewing artists. Cause I was telling Cindy earlier when we were talking about me coming in and do the guest spots, like I've only done it one other time, and I won't say who I was doing it with, but they weren't musicians. They had other things they were into and whatnot, but they were trying to do a music podcast, but they didn't know how to interview an artist. And also they just really loved talking about themselves while they were interviewing people. And it was just like, okay, I'm cool. We came on here for an hour and a half and we talked about my record for 10 minutes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, so I think also like, word of mouth, like whenever I find an artist or most people, I'm sure you get a lot of references from other people. Like, you don't even have to really go hunting for guests anymore.
No.
Probably
now that was a huge growth hurdle, was when we had to quit reaching out so much and people would reach out to us.
Because I think I saw
for scheduling.
I want to say it was Dittmeyer. Nick Dittmeyer, I believe he did something with you guys, and that's when I reached out. I believe that's who I saw and how I got in contact with you guys. But yeah, it's great. It's like, it's awesome PR, and like, artists need that.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's, I think a big thing for us is we've never looked at numbers as the driving factor, because we don't we spend money, we don't make money. But that's never been a thing. It's like, how many views did we get this week?
Right.
How many of this did we get on this? Did this video? That is,
I don't think you could, if you were hung up on those types of things, I don't see how you would last.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, like I'm pretty uninterested in that.
Yeah.
That's not what matters. It's the conversations and the relationships and those things that matter to me. So it's like, if you ever get a view or listen, that's cool too.
Yeah.
But it's more of, not even like a labor of love, just it's so much fun. The evolution's crazy.
Yeah.
Think about it. Corner over there.
I think we need to really consider too, when Dusty was talking about his EP, I think that'd be a cool little segment to add. We're talking about just having a band come in when they release an EP and just perform their EP live, start to finish.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And just put that out as a show in itself.
That'd
All
be
right,
Yeah,
so
man.
what would we call that? That needs its own little thing, like the.
Not individual.
One shot, one mic, one EP.
Yeah.
That'd be easy enough, huh? It needs to be like, well, here's the real question. Would people want to release that before or after or simultaneously with the EP?
That's what I was literally just thinking too. I don't know. Like, because it's clearly, I would almost say,
I don't know if it would compete with an EP because,
You're not
it's
selling
not.
anything.
yeah, it's just
No.
online content. It would be on your all's channel.
That's something
too.
that's been surprising with the podcast is our podcast listening numbers are about the same with adding the YouTube video as they were before the YouTube video.
The same listens, and we're still getting the video.
It doesn't
views.
seem like, I mean, there's people, like, I think the first few podcasts we've put out are, they're up somewhere around 75 views now, something like that, 80 maybe. But those 80 views I haven't seen subtract from
Any of
our
the
listens
listens.
on other platforms.
Well,
So-
and that's probably an evolution too, because the video viewers are probably new.
Maybe so.
Like people that are actually seeing it, like watching somebody specifically, or get stuck in a rabbit hole. Because if we're still getting the listens, then I don't know, maybe that translates to new media.
Tell you what might be cool too is if you do somebody comes in here and wants to do a live EP, give a song or two out for free, and then have or something like a Patreon or whatever, to where if you want to watch the whole thing, boom,
Yeah.
throw us $10
Yeah.
Well,
or
here's-
$5,
like-
whatever, something to where.
Well, the big thing for me, especially when it comes to when it comes to the original material, is we don't release that on like Spotify or anything. So that's always something we give the artist the thing to do. But I don't know if we would. I don't know if it would be our Patreon to do that. Because
Yeah.
it feels like it's somebody else's
Yeah,
talent,
I guess so.
somebody
Yeah.
else's
Yeah.
art. No, it isn't ours. It's not that. And if we did that, it would. Well,
That's
not
true.
if we did that, but it would be something that, like, if any money comes out of this for video content or like that, it needs to go to the artist.
Yeah, but also you guys should get, but yeah, it would get.
One thing we need to do is so right now we've got monthly supporters, and it's just people that want to support the podcast, and they subscribe to a set monthly amount that they donate, and it helps a lot with cords and HDMI cables and things like that. But we've had quite a few requests of some way to do a one-time donation.
Yeah.
And we need to get that set up. And it might be something that we can do through our website on Squarespace. Just set it up in our store now that we got a merchandise store. So you can go
Yeah.
out and, we've got some merchandise out there.
All right. So I got a question. So what is the donation service through the Anchor?
Yeah.
stuff?
It's through
So
our
what if we
podcast
did
platform.
set up a Patreon to where it's the same things, same type of paywall, and then we can give them send a sticker for a certain amount or things like that. That'd be kind of cool. And that way it's not tied to Anchor. It's all ours, comes here,
Yeah.
and be able to have a little bit more to offer.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
extra videos or, I'll send, I'll take some shirtless photographs. And
Sold.
Done. That's at least worth $1.99.
By the way, that would be cool, and I think a lot of artists would be down to do it, even if it's just if I had to, just off the top of my head, I would almost want it to be after the EP's release. So
Yeah,
it's then
I'm
people can
thinking
hear
that
it,
too.
and then it's okay, we heard it, and then boom, we're gonna play it for you, and then you could have a link for the actual EP from the studio recording or whatever too.
That's probably something we could do.
Yeah, you could put that if we put that on YouTube in the description, you could put links to purchase the EP or. I thought about that the other day. Is we probably another thing we could probably do is get artists to send all their contacts to us, like web pages and things like that, and include it in the video descriptions.
Oh yeah.
So when people go to their video, they can find their stuff right there in the description.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about it more, I remember seeing this clip. I think it was Tyler, the Creator, that was talking about how like so many independent artists will like promote, market until when they release up to the release, and then it's like, okay, then a week, maybe 2 weeks of promoting your album or song after that. Like you go hard for that like following week or two, and then it's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, having more stuff to do after the record's released too would be cool. But that's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guilty of it. And I think most people, I think, are. We're just like,
well,
everybody's finding out about it. But then when it's out, it's like, okay.
Now what?
Yeah.
Well, that type of work is a true grind.
It is.
That's why music promoting and business managers and things like that are such big business. Because, it's a grind to keep up on top of that all the time. Just staying on top of your social medias and trying to be relevant there.
There's social media marketing teams, there's publicists, managers. There's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
For an independent artist.
Man, it's wild to think. It used to be you had to get the green light. All right, let me hear you. We're gonna take care of you, kid. We're gonna make you a big star. All that. And then it got to the point where it became easier to become a self-sustained musician, artist, or make it on your own without having the machine behind you. And now it just seems near impossible with the amount of musicians, amount of there are 12-year-old kids that make me never want to play instruments again. So it's like,
it's crazy.
It can be intimidating, but it's like, how in the world? There's room for all of it. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because there's so many followers and so many different platforms and people and blah blah blah. But it's mind blowing and daunting to think. How do you carve a path? Is it true that if I find 1,000 people that are into everything I do, that I can sustain a career as a musician? What is it that gets me to the point? Do I have to have the music, the social media stories, and the podcast? Do I have to have, what do you got to do, dude?
Yeah.
It seems so big.
Yeah, I was legit thinking about that on the way over here, just as when you're driving, I was stuck in traffic for like a half hour, so whatever your mind gets running, but thinking it's like, how am I going to break them? How do you break the mold, or how do you break through? It's like, again, there's just so many different ways. But then again, you see sometimes, I think it's, it's always like a crapshoot, like too, where it's like, even if you have a ton of followers, this, that, and the other, you might, not be able to tour, or you might just not deliver live or whatever. Or sometimes it's like people just get signed because they got great songs or whatever.
Know somebody, or
yeah, or that's totally,
dude. That's another thing. Is like, how many songs have we sat in here and listened to and been, moved one way or the other about how amazing that tune is in whatever different way that you feel that inside this room. And go, there are 10 million more songs like this that probably were written today. How does it's mind blowing, because you don't think that anything is better than anything else. But what is the thing that gets through? Because there's some terrible shit on the radio.
yeah.
There, especially right now, the popular music is it's not very satisfying or moving to me in any way.
I'm trying to remember the numbers now. I mentioned it on this podcast because I watched, there's a show called History 101, and one of them was about MP3s. And one of the stats they threw out was how many new songs per day is put out on just Spotify. I could totally be wrong, but I think it was like 600,000. It was something crazy.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't surprise
every day.
me.
Yeah.
Because I remember,
it was something crazy.
I remember like 5 or so years ago, one of my friends told me this similar statistic, but it was like 30 something thousand. That was, you know what I mean, a while ago. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's already grown that much, because
for some reason I'm thinking 6, maybe it was 60,000, but it was something crazy.
Well, and this reminded me of like sometimes when people, when I'm playing a bar gig or whatever, and people are like, any of this, and I'm like, nah, I know, like, they're like, well, do you know any of this? And I'm like, no. And then like, man, what do you know? I was like, well, I know like 250 songs, but I was like, I don't know these things. There's a lot more that I don't know. And then I looked it up because I was like just so pissed, like curious. I was like, I wonder how many songs have been released. And it was something like, there's like been since like 92 or something. I can't remember what it was. They started doing the study, but there's been like 11 billion songs.
Oh,
there's
wow.
something
That's
insane.
crazy.
Like, you just can't, you know what I mean? With the way it is to upload, how easy it is to upload now too. And on that note,
Hit Me Baby One More Time was one of the big ones.
yeah, oh yeah.
11 billion songs.
Dude. Max Martin. But on that note, I was talking with a friend the other night. We were listening to a bunch of Hank Williams and looked up. Just I was curious where I didn't know if he recorded at like Sun Studios or whatnot, but it was somewhere in Nashville, and it was, I think it said it was 1942 when he did his around. It was in the 40s, and I was just thinking, I was like, man, one of the good things about how easy it is to release music today is how, like, I wonder how many other Hank Williams or Johnny Cashes there were then that they just didn't even know what the hell a studio was.
Yeah.
Like guys living out and working in the coal mines or just out in the middle of nowhere that just didn't even have a radio, but they had a guitar. You know what I mean? That kind of a mind fuck.
Well, that's crazy to think about. Yeah,
there could have been. I'm sure there was a ton, thousands of game changing artists that never even got discovered, but. At the same time.
I never even thought about that in any facet whatsoever.
Well, there's so much of a push-pull. You think about like today, I mean, how many people are in the world right now? 7 billion?
7.5,
7 billion people. So what fraction of a percent of the world population do you need following you and being fans of you to make a hell of a good living? It's minute. So that's one side of it. But then the other side of it is that
how many of them
there's so many people out. There's some. Well, even if you go United States, 300 million?
Yeah.
If you just go United States, still it's a fraction of a fan base that you need. But then there's so many people out there. Like, how do you get that fan base you need?
And then they got to support. They got to buy your life. I mean, because that's what it boils down to. If they don't pay for your living, then you don't have a living, because that's what you need people to listen to you for. So how do you get them to buy in completely to whatever it is you believe in?
Unfortunately, one thing I think that's important is you can't be normal. You can't be a normal person.
Well, it's almost not even. It's you can't allow normality to get in the way of your expression of art. And there are people that don't care what society thinks. They don't care if you are okay with them being an artistic being. They are who they are. That's who they are. They live that. It's refreshing, but it's almost like a world revolves around me instead of the world just revolves type of deal. You've got to have some type of feeling where you're here for a reason, for the purpose of something. I think. I don't know, because I don't feel like that.
It's interesting thinking about that. Like, you're talking about the world. Like, I think it was Nicholas Johnson that we had from Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, he's great. He just played the Monarch.
Yeah. But he was talking about he plays in Europe and they love American music, so he has a huge following over there. And so it also may depend on where you're at in the world.
True.
You may be able to take American music to other countries that you would be like a freaking rock star there because they love American music. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, there was a band that I think they were called Oedipus, something like that. But they were based out of Pasadena, California, and we saw them play, my old band with Luke Powers, Bolt Action Thrill. We did a gig with them. This place called I Pasadena something pub. Anyways, something like that. They would tour Europe. They had like a hit in Sweden or Finland or something, like a #1 song. So they'd go over there and tour for like 2-3 months a year, and then they'd make enough money doing that to come back and just live.
Find your niche. Find your
It's like,
niche.
that sounds awesome.
Oedipus?
Yeah.
I think it was called Oedipus.
I guess speaking of Oedipus, man, I guess
Am I
I know where you're going.
Platypus must be on hiatus for a little while. Boys, Platypus, that's our band name, Platypus.
Platypus?
No, we said we went against that one.
Oh my god.
excited to hear more about this?
All right, how do you spell it now?
I don't remember.
Plaid.
It's like
plaid.
like plaid shirt.
A puss. Puss. Plaid a puss.
Platypus.
3 words.
I'm into it.
It's all because of Brent. Oh, hell, dude.
I like.
You came up with the name.
I like bad plaid.
Bad plaid.
Platitude.
Platitude. There's all kinds of plays on plaid.
Bad platitude.
I like bad plaid. Platypus is pretty awesome. Though. Platypus.
With a little
I was-
octopus Mason.
I was wondering why you had that little smirk when I was talking about it. So I was like, there's something going on in his mind that I don't know about right now.
It happens often. Oh,
I
Jesus.
think we'll have a little more. Hello, my name is
I'll
Ryan.
fill it
I'll
up
tell you
for
a little
you.
more. It's an inside joke. We played a show at Off the Rails, like the 3 of us and Lee and Spencer.
When's our next
Longer.
gig?
Oh, yeah. That was recent.
Yeah, it was a good time.
June 3rd. June 3rd.
Oh,
June 3rd.
June the 3rd.
Neil and I booked the next show for Memorial Day weekend, and we're thinking we're all gonna be out of town. So
Don't blame me. I was just next to you.
Let's ask Dusty our questions
All right.
raw with no time. He has no time to think about them.
Raw dogging these questions, homie.
word.
All right, Dusty, tell us something non-musical about you. People need to know.
I love to cook.
There we
I'm
go.
an excellent cook.
nice.
All right, what's
What's
up?
your favorite dish? What's your best dish?
Searing a steak, and baked potato salad.
Ooh. And you cook on the road too for your band, right?
Well, I didn't ever really have to because our bass player Alex, he's a better cook than I am, and he would, he makes his own like brochet buns and like biscuits and this, that, and the other. But he bought one of those Coleman
Flat iron skillets.
Stove? That's camping stove?
camping stove. It had a couple just a propane powered
Oh.
thing. So he was, like it was whenever we'd have time, he'd bust that out and cook, and great stuff. Chorizo, mac and cheese. Kind of shout out Alex Roberts.
Alex Roberts.
He's not
bad.
online. He's a phantom ghost. No, he doesn't have Instagram or.
He's a bad man.
He is, dude. I love
Yeah,
that about him.
he can play.
He's a great
Heck yeah.
bass player and great dude, and he just stays away from the internet world.
Nice,
I admire
nice.
that
That's
about him.
very bass player like of him.
Yeah,
So we need to go over to Dusty's for a cookout sometime. Sound like
yeah, dude,
I'm down.
for sure. Anytime.
Next time you have James's place, we're gonna come over there.
Nobody can cook like James.
What?
James is a phenomenal.
All right, James. We'll
Dude,
take an invite to
telling you,
another.
yeah,
Just
dude.
James Stapleton
James
at the
Man.
barn.
Yeah.
So we just missed a jam at the barn, man. I remember seeing that on Facebook.
I did not.
It was a good
next
one,
time. When's the next one?
man. He's probably
We can't announce it.
Secret.
He's trying to control
you don't
crowds.
say that.
Okay.
Jams are special anyway. You got
It won't. I know it won't be for a while. At least one of the open like Sunday jams. But we're gonna be having more of them at the Monarch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Got to get out to the Monarch and figure out our microphone placement and things.
You gonna mount
I
it on the
just want to
ceiling?
hang out.
I hope
No.
so. I need to talk to Mark about it. Show him what we're going to use to do it.
There
That
it
would
is.
that's the thing we would use. But pole would be gone. We'd put that on when we're there. So the only thing that would be there when we're not there is the little bass, which is just about that big around. So nobody would even see it.
And how does it? It just records and you go and get like a disc out of it or something, or does it shoot?
No, just
to
for
you?
the microphone, because Our microphone was
that
a
one.
little bit. It was a little bit too far from the stage, So we were. It's cool having the crowd and the ambient sound and everything, but it was too much of that and not enough of the stage. So we need to just close the space, probably about half the distance.
Was Sophia the last one you recorded there?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Shit, even if it was
It's
been a
hanging
while.
right over the
Probably.
stage or like in front of it or something, if it's that.
As
Yeah.
long as he doesn't mind, but it'd be the only thing on that flat black
Yeah.
roof.
Yeah. It wouldn't be in the way
Ceiling.
at all.
No, it wouldn't be in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just need to go out there and let him check it out.
Yeah.
Beg him.
See what it looks like.
I'm sure you'd be down.
All right, so tell us, Dusty, about a nightmare gig or something something embarrassing that's happened to you on stage.
Okay. Nightmare gig. Oh yeah. So it was this is when I was my old band Future Villains, and we were on tour with Steel Panther, and we were getting ready to play in New York City. This place called the I can't remember, it'll come to me, but something Irving Plaza, and literally the gig I was looking forward to the most. Had never played in New York City, and a couple days before we get there, I can't remember where we were playing. Panthers tour manager was like, "Hey, when we were in a 25-foot motorhome pulling a 5x10 or 6x10 trailer, something like that. So we were about like 32 feet long ish, and their tour manager was like, "Hey, before we get to New York, rent a U-Haul van, bring just your necessities, leave your camper or your motorhome and your trailer somewhere overnight before you get to New York. Rent a van, do that. Don't bring your motorhome and trailer through Manhattan." And we were like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then as things never go as planned, usually for an independent band, we just kind of,
How bad can it be?
exactly, we'll be able to make it work, whatever. So we knew going in, like if we didn't do that, what we'd have to do is dump the gear, double park outside, dump the gear, and then go move the motorhome 33 blocks away and then cab it back to the venue. So we get there, or we get to the Washington Bridge or something, this tunnel we were getting ready to go through, and then we got stopped because they were checking people and like, this, that, and the other, and we couldn't go through this tunnel because we had a propane tank. So they had to stop New York traffic for us to turn around. So we turned around. This was going to put us out like 2 blocks from the venue. And then we had to, when it shot us back away, it was like a mile and a half during rush hour. So it took us, we were going to be like 5-10 minutes away. It took us an hour and a half, if not 2 hours to get there. We missed our sound check. So we just had to hurry up and load our gear out. So our guitar player, who's a real gem of a dude, met up with his ex-wife and skipped load out. So then it was our merch guy, our tour manager, and then our drummer were the only guys loading the gear in the venue when we got it out. We loaded it out of the trailer. Then me and our bass player had to go park the motorhome 33 blocks away. So on the way to do it, 33 blocks away. So then when we're on following our Apple Maps or whatever, we're coming up to our turn, and then we see the street sign says no trucks, cars only. It's because there was a low bridge or whatever underpass that we couldn't fit through, so we had to go straight. And when we're the only street to go through, we can't. What are we gonna do? We can't back up. Literally, there's nothing we could do. So this street that we took was loaded with transit buses, city buses, all on the right side, and then cars on the left. And like it looked tight, and it was like a few inches too small. So we're like going in, like just slowly rolling in, and start knocking mirrors off of these transit buses. And I was like, dude, go left, pull left. So he starts moving left a little bit, and then just annihilates the side of this like Impala. And he's like, I'm hitting these cars, man. I'm hitting these fucking
You're
cars.
committed.
So yeah, I was like, we can't stop. You know what I mean? So we could have. Anyway, so this cop walks out. He's walking a canine, and then he just gets in front of the car and just is like, stop. So he stops us, and then he's like, all these buses are getting ready to leave in like 5 minutes, which of course we didn't know that. found out the car that we destroyed the full right side of was an unmarked cop car. So then he was like, you can leave a note and hope that they don't give you a hit and run. Or he's like, you should really just call it and file it. So we called it in, or tried calling it in. They were like, yeah, nobody can be there for, mind you, we have 45 minutes till we have to be on stage.
33 blocks away.
33 blocks away, and then cab it. We have to get there, and we were like, at this point, we were like 10-ish blocks from where we needed to park it.
You had people behind you blowing the horns and things?
Yeah, it was a night. Well, fortunately, we weren't too far up to where people could see that it was completely blocked off. So there were a couple people that pulled up that were, kind of been out of shape. It's like, sorry, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Because New Yorkers are really nice people.
Oh, man. So the buses finally start to leave, and then we had to pull over, and then the cop was like, hey, this is from this precinct. So I literally run and get this cop. He was like the quintessential, ideal New York cop. He had on a Yankees cap, and his badge was on his necklace. You know what I mean? I was like, we're kind of far, so if you don't mind running. He's like, no, let's go. So he jogged with me. It was kind of cool. But then he gets there. He's like, yeah, this isn't from our precinct. This is from 10 blocks that way. And I was like, we got to go. We just got to go. We got to leave a note because we're not going to miss the show. So then we finally, we leave a note, we park, and then get to the venue. The cop had already contacted us. He was like, I'm going to go get an estimate, whatever. And we're like, okay. So we get on stage. We arrive about 5 minutes before we're supposed to play. So we just start slamming beers. And was like, just super stressed out, So then our guitar player who ditched the load in, his amp is all messed up and starts going out during every song, every single song. And at one point, after it was out for too long, we just stopped, and David, our bass player, was like, you got to let the crowd know what's up. We've just had such a hell of a day. Just talk to him. And I was like, yeah, it's a good idea. So I told him, what was going on. And then fortunately there were some real cool people that donated a bunch of money like that, just was hooking us up. But it ended up costing us I think it was $1,800, to get, which was about a quarter of our money that we had, but also was probably a really fair price because the back right fender, the front right fender, both the doors,
that doesn't sound
mirror.
bad.
Yeah, it was.
Oh wow.
But so that was the worst tour day, worst gig day.
The only good ending of that story would be you call the cab to go back, and it's the cash cab, and you win $1,800 on the way back, and you're like, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that would have been a good ending of that day. But yeah, that was. But that was another thing that was awesome about getting, kind of balancing out in the universe. Because when we played New York with this last run that my band did, it was one of the best, if not the best show of the tour. It was one of them.
I remember you told us about that one.
Yeah, that was an awesome one. But man, that first one was a bitch. It was just everything went wrong. Everything went wrong.
Who's the last independent local artist you listened to?
Peyton Bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Brent?
What is the last show that I saw? Oh, Yappa at Melwood Tavern.
Not a show, just listen to.
Or listen to?
Yeah. Tell us about Yappa. That's a Latin band.
Oh, yeah. Yappa was awesome,
Where'd they play?
Melwood Tavern.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I'm hoping we can get them on here.
A lot of percussion.
7-piece. So they had two classical guitars, a lot of hand percussion, some different flutes and things from South America, upright bass, fiddle. The drummer had kind of made his own kit, cajon for a kick drum, bongos. Very eclectic.
Cool. Yeah.
We
got to get them in here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was
Fiddle
awesome.
soup?
It was very entertaining.
Burger.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, after the podcast last week, I was listening to Trap King Kai stuff on Spotify. And it's awesome, man. It is throwback hip hop. It is. Yeah.
What's it called?
Trap King Kai.
Cool.
He was on with a live band.
Church Friends.
Yeah. Oh, they were awesome,
last
man.
episode.
It's throwback.
I'll be deep in that tomorrow.
It was awesome.
I want to say, is he going to be on the Castle.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well,
I just saw his name.
I don't know if he's on it.
He's not on the festival. He did the opening, or he did the announcement show.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I saw. That's where I saw his name. Cool.
Which I was
I'll
like,
check him out.
He's a hell of a dude too.
Yeah,
he's always a good time. Yeah.
What about you?
Mine was Peyton Bowling. I listened
right.
to Peyton Bowling today. Yeah.
All right.
What about you?
Hill House.
Yeah, Hill House.
Ruth
Taylor
and Tyler
Shuck.
Sh- Taylor Shuck.
And
I don't know.
Oh, hey, wait! It never fails. Ellie
it
comes
Ellie?
up on
Yeah,
every
Ellie's on there
podcast.
too,
I
yeah.
think Ellie's been mentioned
Yeah.
on every single podcast.
Right on.
Taylor Shuck and
That's good stuff though. Hill House. I listened to that not too long ago.
It's so good.
They just, I believe, recorded at La La Land. I know, or something. It's no. I'm
It's
sorry.
probably
No, it was Mama Said String Band. It was Mama.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
Taylor used to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in. That guy is
Insane.
blows my mind.
insane.
Blows my mind. Like I saw them. I met Taylor right the day they were playing at this festival called Moonshiners Ball,
Uh-huh.
which was a blast. Hot Brown Smackdown played there, and then like
Yeah.
Sam Bush.
Oh
It was
yeah.
a real treat, man.
met
49
Sam
Winchester.
Bush?
I didn't meet him. I'm just
He's
watching him
amazing.
perform. Yeah, it was just a great guitar player too. Like
Yeah.
he was playing mandolin and just shredded on guitar. But yeah, I saw Taylor play with Mama Said then, and it was like
Stupid.
blew my mind.
Yeah. And he's a classically trained guitar player too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
At
that's how he
Eastern
started.
Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
He,
didn't have banjo, so
if I remember right, so he wrote the curriculum for EKU's guitar class, didn't he? Didn't he say that?
I don't know, man. Your memory's stupid compared to mine.
I'm pretty sure. He wrote the curriculum for their classical guitar
crazy.
class.
Would not surprise me.
I don't think I made that up.
I mean, I've never seen anybody play a banjo like
Yeah.
him before, and yeah,
Maybe they have a banjo course now and he wrote that curriculum.
I got another question.
should.
All right.
We'll start with you.
Oh,
Who
what
do you?
a treat.
You might know this now. Spotify puts year-end stats. But what artists do you listen to most? Like, who's somebody you can turn on and just listen to for a half-hour car
Me?
ride somewhere? Yeah,
Billy Strings all day.
Billy Strings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Strings, Doc Watson, or Tony Rice. If I'm in that mood, which is all the time anymore.
What if you're not in guitar bluegrass mood?
Marcus King. I could go with old Bill Withers. I could do that for a while. Any old like, I don't know, man. Stevie Wonder,
Yeah.
Prince,
Yeah.
the Gorillas.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good stuff.
anybody, dude. I mean, I could get lost in a half an hour.
That's how you listen to music, though, isn't it?
That's
Don't you
how I
listen
listen.
to artists for like extended times
Yeah.
and then you go to somebody
The
else?
Diggable Planets.
Oh man,
Yeah, dude, you
talk
throw the
about
Diggable Planets
badass.
first record on,
Oh, it's so good.
or even Blowout Come the second record. I mean, talk about jazz meets hip hop. It's
What's it called again?
the Diggable Planets?
Diggable Planets.
It's like
man.
it's probably what, like early '90s hip hop.
late '80s, early '90s, like
It's-
with
it's-
jazz band instruments
it's
like
so-
stand up bass.
So good.
You ever heard I'm cool like that? Oh
I'm
man.
cool like
Check it
that.
out.
I'm cool like that. Cool like that.
Dude.
Maybe I have.
Yeah,
I
you've
don't-
heard it.
but-
Ba-dum-da. Here's the bass line.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I knew you know it if I did that.
Yeah.
What about you, Dusty? Who do you listen to most?
That's a loaded question, man. But I would say, as far as like that I could listen to on my own, like I listen a lot. I listen to a lot of Sturgill Simpson and Queen as over the last couple years. Been digging
Yeah.
into them, but like that's putting on any time, no matter what the environment. Sturgill and Tyler have been kind of my go-to guys, and
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll piggyback Tyler because that lately's been a super stuck. Because I wasn't. I remember when Lee and Jessica and you guys started listening to Tyler. I just wasn't into him at all.
Yeah.
At all. Knew he was good, just didn't.
Wasn't feeling it?
Just
Yeah.
wasn't feeling it. But lately, the last 4 months, 5 months, I've dug in. I'm like, all right, this is.
Have you listened to well, it was Rogan's interview with Rick Rubin.
I have not.
I haven't heard it.
I heard it's amazing.
It's awesome.
I heard the book's amazing too.
I've been listening to that too. Yeah, it's for me at least. It's tough to follow. Like I got to go back a lot because he spits out a lot of information that it's like I need more time to think about what he's saying right now. It's not just like he's talking to you as well. It's not like he's just but it's great. A lot of like mind opening and just different ways of thinking. But
he's definitely a wise dude,
big time. And I love his podcast is awesome too. I think it's called Broken Record. He's like you guys.
Yeah,
He's great.
awesome.
Great. He's great at like talking to artists and like he just not just asking the same routine questions and whatnot, and a true appreciation for the art form. But when in his interview with Rogan, he mentioned something. They're talking about I think they're talking about the Grateful Dead, and this is, and I could be wrong, but he was mentioning Rogan, like Joe was saying something about how he's like he just hasn't gotten into him. He's and then Jesus, I'm blanking his name now. Ruben's like, well, they just you haven't found their way in yet. Like it just hasn't happened. In which that was a thing with me and the Grateful Dead before I started hanging out with James, and he listens to a lot of jam band music, and then like so that's same kind of thing you're talking about with Childers. Like when you first start listening to somebody, you don't really get it sometimes, and then like it just kind of finds its way into where it's like, okay, now I understand.
Believe it or not, I was like that with the Beatles for a long time.
Really?
I never really got into listening to the Beatles, and now I love the Beatles.
Beatles are awesome, man.
Yeah.
I loved them growing up, and then I hated them when I started discovering new music because I was like, I'm tired of listening to this old man shit. And then I'm like, as I got in my like later teens and whatever, I was like, okay, yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They did good.
Yeah.
And then when you realize what you just went and listened to was a million versions of people trying to be the Beatles, really. I mean, because it boils down to a lot of that.
But you, Grant?
Mine's probably kind of embarrassing because I was like the top like 0.05% of Black Angels listeners. Like I love the Black Angels. It's like psychedelic rock. That's probably the one band I can put on just like random and listen to any song they've done. It's real droney, kind of like Velvet Underground stuff. I don't know. I like psychedelic rock like that. It's kind of like droney. But mine was like, I don't know. It was random. I don't even remember my top 5. But like Beatles, and I like the weird Beatles stuff, like the White Album type stuff. And I listen to, I think Bob Marley might have been on there, like Bob Dylan. Mine's probably very eclectic, random.
Yeah.
Different kinds of music. But yeah. Brad?
New bands, I'd definitely say probably in the last couple of years has been Lake Street Dive.
They're good.
Awesome.
I can turn, I can listen to their music for hours. Yeah. I just like the
them for a
vibe.
while, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so Spencer went and saw them and said they basically do a one mic setup for the whole, at the Ryman.
Oh, really?
And said it was, I think, one mic the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is even cooler.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I know why I like them.
It was surprising. Well, the first time I ever found out about it, it was probably like 2013 or 14 maybe, and it was them on the sidewalk with a microphone doing a Jackson 5 I Want You Back cover, and I was like, this is too cool, man. It's so slow and just like jazzy. That girl's voice is just
crazy,
out of this world, man.
Yeah.
And then but they got the bass player and the drummer all do harmonies, and yeah, they're special.
Then sometimes I get on old Motown kicks, just any old Motown artist I can listen to.
I could see you doing Motown faces, dude, as it can. I can see you jamming to some Motown. I've seen you play some Motown.
Hell yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen your Motown suit.
Yeah. Man, we've been sitting here shooting a bull for about an hour, fellas.
Man. That was quick.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
Hell yeah, man.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
I miss you already, Brad. Miss you already, buddy.
We'll see you guys next time. Next episode is 160, which means it's our final episode of season 10.
Woo. 10
Damn.
seasons.
We need to do something special for episode 200.
What should we do?
For sure.
I don't know. It's 40 episodes away, so we got a while, but we're going to Maybe
Live at the
film it
Monarch.
off location.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Episode
idea.
200
Yeah.
live at the
I was just
Monarch.
thinking the same time you said that. I was
That
thinking
would be
maybe
awesome.
off different
Yeah,
location.
that'd be fun.
Saturday
So
or
maybe
Sunday,
we do-
like all day thing. With
Yeah, and
Maybe
have
we
a bunch
do
of- have a bunch of
podcast
people
and
and
then
invite
just do
people
a
out.
live, full-on
Ooh,
show,
yes.
open door. Figure it out. That'd be awesome.
Have it all dayer.
Yeah, I'd say make it a 2 or 3 hour and have all kinds of different artists do one song
Yeah.
each. Like
I
past
even
guests.
call in.
Yeah.
Like all
Have
this
Dusty,
is
I
have
even
Dusty
call in
grill
where-
some steaks.
or this is like pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, you all were talking about having like an outdoor show or something with all the past guests.
We could do it
Yeah.
there
It
outside.
could be outdoor
Yeah.
or indoor, but have like past guests come on. Everybody do like one song and
Out
make
in
it
the
like
back.
an all day. Like
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
You gotta have more than one song.
Yeah. Do half hour.
And plus, I mean,
Or have an open jam.
I love all of our artists, but I don't know how. That's a commitment. You got to get
Not
people
every-
to.
you'd
You got
have
to
to
get
chunk
people
it
to
up.
commit.
It could be. That's the thing, man. You can make it whatever you want there. You could have a writers' room going on inside. You could have the bands playing out in the garden.
Yep.
You could do all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
That'd be rad. So that's 200, 160s next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still 40
Or
away.
just-
so
or-
it'll happen.
Invite all the past guests. Just have like an open jam, or just
The
have
Top
whatever
Hill.
happens transpires, and have everybody kind of hang out.
So what would that be? That's going to be winter.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, it's going to be winter.
I'm glad that we were talking about this and thinking about this, because the one thing I was thinking about recently was the Louisville community we talked about many times and how amazing it is. But I think what I'm not seeing so much is there's little overlap in some of the groups.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can be the people that bring those groups together to meet, because I strictly
Love
think it's because all of those people haven't met.
Yeah.
Like Trap, everybody should know everybody. Trap King Kai should know everybody. You should know everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody should know every group of people, because they talked about people in this city like Joey Phantom and all these guys that we've heard of and listened to, but are in a circle that we are getting into, but is a different. I mean, there's just a few of those. If we can bring those together and have them meet and create this one unit,
Yeah.
Be the start of an annual like gathering or fest.
Yeah.
That'd be
we
awesome.
can call
like
it
a,
the
like
gathering of the Juggalos.
yeah.
Perfect.
Oh,
Bring
wait.
together,
Sounds
bring together all these different local musicians for like an annual kind of hangout or whatever.
Yeah, dude. I think
Yeah, that'd be
getting
cool.
that crossover.
It'd be awesome.
All right, we got 40 weeks, man, to plan it.
Who's in charge?
I guess
Brad.
us.
Brad.
Raise your hand if it's Brad.
I'll help. I'll do whatever I can.
All right, so those two sweets
All
to
right,
bring
fellas.
into the operation.
Exciting.
It's been great.
Yeah, man.
See ya.
Until next time.